Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. It's Paulie, Esther here, and today Dead by Daylight tweeted out some information here. A hefty chunk of news before we head into the weekend. Here's a sneak peek at some of the changes making their way to the upcoming PTB. And when we click the link, it takes us to the official Dead by Daylight forums, where we see this developer update, a post here written by Peanuts for the September 2020 developer update. Welcome to the September Developer Update, a series of blog posts where we discuss upcoming changes and features making their way to Dead by Daylight. Chapter 16 Review. With the upcoming mid-chapter, we're kicking off a new initiative to review the previously released chapter, the killer, their perks, and the survivor's perks, and make any changes that are needed. The first to receive this treatment is the Silent Hill chapter. We feel that it's important to see how new content plays out in a real scenario before committing to balance changes. Something that seems overpowered upon release can end up being a non-issue once people have had a chance to play against it and develop counterplay. Likewise, something that might seem underpowered might find a niche once people have had the time to experiment with the new builds and playstyles. Other times, the playstyles that crop up over time can turn out to be frustrating or unfun to play against. With this in mind, we plan to review the previous chapter once it has had a few months to simmer and address any issues or imbalances that may have appeared. This period gives us a chance to monitor how the new content is used and get a better understanding of how it is used and how it can be abused before tweaking things. The Executioner changes. From watching Pyramid Head matches over the past few months, we've noticed that many people will opt to only use his Punishment of the Damned attack at pallets and windows, where the survivor is locked into the interaction and unable to attempt to dodge the attack. To address this and make a gameplay more dynamic, we're making two changes. Increasing the delay after canceling Rites of Judgment before Pyramid Head can attack. The reason for this change is to add a downside to canceling your power at each pallet or window. Currently, the survivor is left with two choices: vault the window and drop the pallet and get hit with the Punishment of the Damned, or continue running and get hit with a basic attack. By increasing the delay before you can do a basic attack after canceling your Rites of Judgment, the survivor gets a small window to avoid an attack similar to the Huntress or Demogorgon. Number 2. Decreasing the delay after attacking with Punishment of the Damned. Missing an attack with Punishment of the Damned can feel very punishing. Oh, the irony. The cooldown after attacking is fairly long, which gives the survivor a lot of time to gain distance. By lowering the cooldown, you'll be able to use your power more liberally without having it backfire as hard if you miss. The goal of these changes is to move Pyramid Head's gameplay in a more skill-based direction, which rewards aiming your attacks well, rather than canceling your power or using it only in situations where you're guaranteed a hit. We are not aiming to make the Executioner stronger or weaker overall, but rather to address some of the frustration of both sides. I think those are fair changes. Perk changes. We're happy to see that some of the perks from Chapter 16 have found their way into people's regular lineup and niche builds. However, there are 3 perks we would like to revisit. These perks are Trail of Torment. We erred on the side of caution when releasing this perk. If the killer is undetectable too often, it can easily become overwhelming and start to overshadow actual stealth-based killers. After watching it play out, we're comfortable with giving Trail of Torment a buff. The undetectable status will now remain active until the mark generator stops regressing or until a survivor is put into the dying state by any means. This creates an interesting dynamic where the survivors need to stop the generator from regressing to remove the undetectable status effect. The killer can use this to ambush survivors or use it to sneak up on a survivor from an unexpected angle. That's pretty interesting. Forced Penance. Forced Penance has some interesting applications, but the duration seems to be a little low to get much use out of the broken effect. We're increasing the duration of the broken effect by 20 seconds across all tiers. So I think it would make you broken for 60 seconds, so that's going to increase it up to 80 seconds now with Forced Penance. Blood Pact. Blood Pact's haste effect is nice to have, but did not last long enough to see much use. We're scrapping the duration for the haste effect and instead making it last indefinitely until the two survivors are no longer within 16 meters of one another. So this used to last for 10 seconds. Now it's going to be indefinite 7% speed boost as long as you're within 16 meters of that other survivor. That's pretty interesting. Now we have some miscellaneous perk changes. That's a lot of perks. We got 9 perks here. Let's see what they say. On the subject of perks, we have also prepared a package of perk updates for this mid-chapter. Like the perks mentioned above, we'll go through and give a short explanation of each one. Any means necessary. So this is the one that you would reset pallets that were downed. So they've reduced the cooldown to 60 seconds. That cuts it in half. I believe it was a 120-second cooldown before you could reset another pallet there. I think that's not OP. Reduced the cooldown to 60 seconds and added a scoring event for resetting a pallet. So you get points for resetting the pallet now. This is another perk that we aired on the side of caution when releasing. Resetting pallets can be a game changer. We wanted to make sure that it would not get out of hand, but upon review, we're comfortable with decreasing the cooldown to 60 seconds. Cruel limits. So this is the one where if you complete a generator, it blocks off all of the nearby vaults. We have increased the radius in this perk to 32 meters. There were concerns with cruel limits being overbearing when the perk first launched, but it turned out to be a non-issue. We're increasing the range from 24 meters to 32 meters. Okay. For the people, there will now be a scoring event added for using For the People. So you're going to get points for your crippling empathy. Mindbreaker. Increased duration of the exhausted effect. The exhausted effect from Mindbreaker often ended up being too short to make much use out of it. We're increasing the duration by a few seconds across the board. So this, I believe, was only any existing exhaustion status effect timers are paused while the survivor is repairing a generator. After ending the generator repair, the survivor is afflicted by exhausted status effect for up to 3 seconds, which was quite short. So if you let go of a gen and you were exhausted for 3 seconds and then it expired and you could sprint worst away, it was just too short. So I'm not surprised they are increasing the duration of that. Slippery meat. Slippery meat, they have removed the bear trap escape chance. So the slippery meat's not going to help you get out of trappers' traps anymore, and added an increased chance to self-unhook. Slippery meat has found its way into some niche builds, but is one of the few perks from back in the day that affects one killer more than others, increasing your odds from escaping from bear traps. And this is something that we've moved away from recently, so we will be removing the increased bear trap escape chance from this perk. To better play into the niche playstyle, Slippery Meat will now increase your chance to self-unhook, in addition to giving yourself more self-unhook attempts. So normally, instead of 3 attempts to escape, you would get 6 with Slippery Meat, and now it's also going to increase your percentage chance. Not sure by how much, but anything is welcome. Thanatophobia. Remove the heal speed penalty and increase the penalty on other actions. Thanatophobia is meant to encourage the survivors to heal in order to avoid the penalty from the perk. However, it currently reduces healing speed as well, creating a lose-lose situation no matter what the survivors do. This prevents us from making the perk stronger, as it would quickly get overbearing. To address this, we're removing the reduced healing speed from the perk, but increasing the action speed penalty to compensate. That's pretty interesting. I like that. We're going to live forever. Added new ways to get tokens. Added increased healing speed when healing a dying survivor. We're Gonna Live Forever is often seen as a survivor equivalent to barbecue and chili, but lacking a secondary like the latter's aura revealing. It can also cause survivors to compete for unhooks, leading to people rushing in for hook saves before it's safe. Excuse me. By adding additional ways to get tokens, we hope to reduce the competition between survivors, and the secondary effect gives the perk more use within the trial. Increased healing speed when healing a dying survivor, so that's going to be helpful against slug survivors. Interesting. Technician. Wow. Increase the chance to prevent an explosion to 100%. So you just can't blow up a gen if you run Technician. Or, I mean, you can blow it up, but the killer won't be notified. added an increased penalty to missed skill checks. Technician is designed as a perk to help newer players and those who struggle with skill checks. There is, however, a random aspect to it as to whether or not the generator explosion will be prevented. To make it more consistent and play more into the learning tool aspect, we're changing the perk to always prevent the explosion, but adding a small penalty to progress for missed skill checks. So you're going to have a progress reduction if you miss the skill check, but it won't blow up. Ah, I like that. Up goes the Weasel. Decreased the time the perk stays activated to 45 seconds. Originally, Pop Goes the Weasel had a 30-second cooldown, which felt too short to get much use out of it. I agree. We later increased this to 60 seconds. This felt much better to use, but it wound up being a little too lenient and allowed killers to find and kick a generator at their leisure, often after chasing and downing a different survivor. I would agree with that. To add some urgency back into the perk, we're splitting the difference and changing the time to 45 seconds at Tier 3. This way you'll have enough time to get to the generator you want to kick, but you'll want to kick the generator before committing to a chase with another survivor. I like that. Perk rarity simplification. Keeping with the theme of perks, a small change but a noteworthy one nonetheless. All perks will now share the same rarities based on their tiers. Currently, Tier 3 perks can be rare or very rare. This can make it difficult to find the perk you're looking for since the perk list is sorted, not just alphabetically, but also divided into 2 different rarities. Going forward, perk rarity will match the tier of the perk: uncommon, rare, and very rare. So tier 1s are always going to be uncommon, tier 2s are always going to be rare, and tier 3s are always going to be very rare. Is that what I'm reading? This makes it easier to find the perks you're looking for in your perk list, and also makes it easier to tell what tier a perk is at a glance. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. So if I have everything maxed, all my perks are going to be purple now, right? So I can just simply look for it alphabetically instead of remembering is that a purple or a green. I like that. Graphics update for the MacMillan Estate. Last but not least, we recently showed off some concept art for the next realm to receive a graphics update. Here they are once more in case you missed them. Okay, so these are just artist renditions. This isn't actually screenshots from in-game, but I can't wait to see this. They're going to do a pass-through on all of the MacMillan Estate maps. So this is actually the control room in the top of the Ironworks, which this has a lot more detail than what we normally see at the top of Ironworks here. That looks great. This is the Suffocation Pit, as we know. People who have been watching the channel for a long time will remember that this was often my background photo whenever I made theory videos and stuff. This was always my background. So they have spruced this up quite a bit here too for Suffocation Pit, that mine. This is also another view of the Ironworks. I don't know if it's just the art here, but this looks like sloped and angled. I don't know if that's going to happen in game or not, but the detail that they put into this is incredible. And finally, this is the top of the coal tower, the venting at the top of the coal tower. There at the bottom, you see the staircases up. It's just missing the boxes in the middle, but all of that piping and vent work exists in coal tower right now. But I can't wait to see all of these changes. The thing that I like the most about this is they're going to do this graphics pass-through on all the maps bit by bit through to 2021. And I'm glad that they're revisiting one of the original realms so that we can get a little bit of more natural lighting on these maps, because right now it's like all of the MacMillan maps have a blue tint to them. All of the race, the Wreckers maps have the green tint, and then all the corn maps, Coldwind Farm maps, are all yellow. So I'm going to appreciate that we get a little bit more natural lighting on these maps. I just can't wait to see when this PTB starts and we get to look at the first of the original maps reworked. This concludes the September edition of the developer update. All the changes mentioned above will be available for testing in the player test build on Steam starting Tuesday, September 29th. We look forward to seeing what you think once you've had a chance to try everything out, the Dead by Daylight team. Okay, so PTB is on Tuesday. Typically, they take the snapshot for how many blood points you'll have going into the PTB the Friday beforehand, which would be today. I mean, I guess we don't really need blood points. We're not gonna... There's no characters to put blood points into, so blood points aren't quite as necessary for this PTB as they would be for a new character PTB. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all this. What are you most excited about? Let me know what you think here. Do you like these perk changes? Do you absolutely hate them? What do you think? Is there something that you're excited to use? A friend of mine was saying, wouldn't it be interesting to see the change to the Trail of Torment, where you kick the gen and then you've gone oblivious and then you just lay in wait, and you also have Dragon's Grip on the gen, so when a survivor says, man, I gotta touch this gen so that we can get him out of stealth mode, and you're right there, and then they've touched the gen, and then they have the exposed status from touching the gen, and you just one-shot down them. That could be a very interesting play that people could make. I'm excited to see what people come up with. I like that they're addressing some of these previous perks and sprucing them up to give people more ideas for builds that they can put together and make the game more dynamic. I think it's a great idea. I'm glad that they're revisiting a lot of these 9 old perks and, you know, 3 more recent ones, like 12 perk changes. That's pretty significant. Anyway, I'll be streaming on Tuesday when the PTB comes out, and I hope you'll join me. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please make sure you have your bell notification on. In fact, even maybe turn it on and off, because I'm having some people that are telling me that they aren't getting notifications of videos until like 5, 6, 7 days later sometimes. I had that one video with the code in there for everybody to get 100,000 blood points because the V contact reaching 100,000 members on the Russian social media site, and they didn't get the notification until 6 days later, and they completely missed the code because it had expired and they didn't get the notification until late. So please make sure that you check your notifications, toggle that bell on and off and on to make sure you have the bell notification on so you don't miss any videos about blood point codes and things like that. All right, that's all I have for you today. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Take care of each other in and out of the fog. Bye-bye.